4 Effective techniques for emotional control. It is not always easy to be in control of yourself. It is not easy to use emotional control techniques. Read on to learn how you can apply them. Some effective emotional control techniques can greatly change your life. Make better decisions, improve your relationships with others, have more resources to confront daily adversity, understand why you feel the way you do. In fact, this crucial aspect that many often neglect can be good for you in many areas of your life. Daniel Goleman was absolutely right when he said that it doesn't matter how intelligent people are if they are not aware of their emotional universe. That's because anyone who can't control their anger, lacks empathy, and can't express themselves in a talented and confident way will rarely make it far. There are still many people navigating society who lack it. Nevertheless, you have to understand that it is always a good time to change. Most people have enough resources, potential and abilities to awaken this skill. Being the captain of your emotions will not guarantee you success or perfect, permanent happiness. What it will offer you is a better quality of life, control over yourself and a much greater understanding of the people around you. What we feel is a choice. P.I. Shrivastava. The most effective techniques for emotional control. A common mistake people make regarding emotions is to suppress them rather than regulate them. It is basically due to poor education in this area of life. People get used to using expressions such as "you're weak if you cry," "get over your anger," or "it's silly to worry," "cheer up," and therefore neglect their emotional needs. Almost without realizing it, people have been instilled with the idea that you have to hide what hurts. Sadness, anger, disappointment, frustration. You almost have to swallow these feelings. Whatever you hide, stagnate, or repress, it leads to anxiety, depression, and hidden suffering that haunts a good portion of the population. Understanding, mastering and implementing effective techniques for emotional control will be a huge help to you. Read along here. 1. Techniques for emotional control. Thought stopping. Thought-stopping techniques aim to control the cycle of rumination and negative thinking and were introduced by the psychiatrist Joseph Wolpe in the 1950s. The aim was to offer patients a strategy to deal with obsessive and fixed thoughts. This resource has a simple, cognitive line and enables you to gain sufficient self-control over the tiring flow of ideas that increase discomfort, stress and anxiety. How can one make use of this technique? How? Take a deep breath and relax when you become aware of the presence of negative and obsessive thoughts. Now visualize making a stop sign to stop such thoughts. To do this, capture every thought that pops into your mind, and don't suppress them. You have to understand the feeling behind the thought and then let it go like a leaf blown away by the wind. Finally, replace it with a positive thought. You can use any phrase that boosts your self-esteem. 2. Technique for controlling volume. Another effective technique for emotional control is volume control. To understand this, for example, think about the last time you got angry or experienced anxiety because of a bad experience. Many feelings and loud thoughts that make you angry and feelings that have become entangled with each other get mixed up as these things run around in your mind. Your inner world is quite loud and it can keep you from hearing what you need to hear. How can one make use of this technique? You have to stop when you go through a time where you get caught up in your emotions and find yourself on edge. You need a few hours to relax and connect with yourself in a calm way. Imagine that the mind is a poorly tuned radio. You hear so many channels at once, but you cannot understand the message. The volume is too loud and the sadness screams and mixes with anger. You need to reduce this intensity a bit. But do so carefully, as you don't want to turn off these voices. In fact, you should try to listen clearly to what they are actually telling you. Now that you've turned the volume down, it's time to identify each voice, each feeling, and understand it. I'm sad because, I'm angry because. 3. Techniques for emotional control. Emotional reasoning. Some say there is a logic in feelings and emotional logic. What often happens, however, is that people allow themselves to be kidnapped by their emotional universe. Therefore, they stop acting, thinking and making rational decisions. Something like this leads to bad decisions, and to discussions about everything and nothing. Moreover, it leads to regret. How can one make use of this technique? Analyze the thoughts that pop into your mind, such as you'd better not do this because all fail and you're not even good at it. Next, identify the feelings behind this thought. Is it fear, uncertainty, frustration, anxiety? In conclusion, you need to rationalize. What is the truth in this statement? Why am I a failure? Have I never been successful at anything? What is the use of telling myself that I am not good at what I want to achieve? After all, I won't know unless I try. 4. The mirror is a good technique for emotional control. One of the most interesting, effective techniques for emotional control is the use of a mirror. It is interesting to resort to it at times when everything seems to be going the wrong way. Also in those moments when your self-esteem is low and you think you are losing control of reality. This exercise helps you reset yourself, become aware of your emotions, and give yourself encouragement as you look at your face and truly connect with your outer inner being. How can one make use of this technique? The first thing you need to do is take an hour of peace away from all distractions. Therefore, you must go to a quiet and intimate place. Your bedroom is a good choice. For this exercise, you need a mirror large enough for you to see a comfortable reflection of yourself. Next, sit in front of it and focus on your eyes. Now you have to ask your reflection, how are you feeling? It is very common for emotions to arise when you have asked yourself this question. Cry if you need to take the burden off your shoulders. Take all the time you need. When you are done, look at yourself again and do it with love. Connect with yourself through compassion, care and acceptance. Now tell yourself that everything will be okay. That you will make new decisions, be aware of new life perspectives, and follow up on any opportunity you need to get better. While it is true that there are other effective techniques for emotional control, you can always start with the ones we have shared here, because they are simpler. In fact, performing them is quite cleansing, and their effectiveness can lead to overall well-being.